Today we have the Pixel on one side and a Vivo on the other, but the more time you spend with both of these phones, the less obvious it gets, because what you're really choosing between here is a phone that's trying to do everything and a phone that's very clear about what's it for. The V70 Elite is priced starting at 51,999 for the base 8GB variant. The Pixel 10a comes in at 49,999. Close enough that the price difference isn't really the story here. But which one should you go for? That's what I will try to answer. The V70 Elite is a phone that earns its first impression. The overall finish feels closer to a flagship than a mid-range phone trying to look like one. At 7.6 mm and 194 grams, it feels compact in a segment where most phones trend larger, and that extra weight gives it a more planted feel in the hand. The aluminum frame has a slightly textured matte finish, and the sand beige version I have been using looks elegant without being tacky. IP68 and 69 together is not something you see at this price often. The Pixel 10a continues with the minimalist design of the 9a. It's one of those designs that looks oddly clean the first time you see it. It's 183 grams, slightly lighter than the Vivo and 9mm thick. That thickness sounds like a lot, but here's the thing. Because the camera module sits nearly flush with the back panel, the phone actually feels like a flat slab. There's no bump to rest your fingers on, which takes some getting used to, but picking it up off the table could be a minor inconvenience. The polycarbonate back scratches and smudges more easily than the Vivo's glass, and you only get IP68 rating. Both are well-built phones, but if durability and in-hand premium feel matter to you the most, the V70 Elite is way ahead here. Both phones use AMOLED panels with 120Hz refresh rates, and both look good in day-to-day use. The V70 Elite has a larger 6.59-inch AMOLED panel with a sharper 1.5K resolution. Right away, the screen feels slightly more immersive. Text looks sharper, colors pop a little more, and the panel itself gets extremely bright outdoors. While Vivo claims a 5000 nit local peak brightness, actual peak brightness in our testing hit an incredibly impressive 3320 nits, so outdoor visibility is absolutely not a problem. HDR10+ support holds up beautifully in streaming content, and Vivo's out-of-the-box display tuning leans slightly towards vibrancy, which many people actually prefer for movies and videos. If you want greater accuracy though, switching to professional mode turns this panel into a purist's dream. It achieves near reference grayscale tracking and an impeccable average color delta E of just 0.9, hitting a near perfect white point that makes color errors virtually imperceptible. Where Vivo stumbles slightly is in the software to display integration. Origin OS positions text and UI elements a little too close to the screen edges, and on a compact device that creates a subtly cramped feel. You notice it more in games where screen real estate matters. One nice hardware detail on the Vivo, however, is the ultrasonic fingerprint scanner. It's faster than the optical scanner used in the Pixel 10a and works even if your fingers are slightly wet. The 10a, on the other hand, runs a smaller 6.3-inch Full HD Plus POLED display. The bezels are noticeably thicker than what you'd expect at this price in 2026, and you will notice them on day one, but after a couple of days of use, it stops bothering you. Google knows this, and to their credit, they've tuned the software to work with those rounded corners instead of against them. Because of this, it doesn't feel as cramped as the Vivo despite the narrower screen. It's bright, colorful, and surprisingly strong outdoors. While peak brightness measures in at 2850 nits, which is a meaningful step up from last year, the panel pushes a massive 1360 nits of standard brightness in everyday SDR use. In direct sunlight, the screen stays completely readable without needing to shade it with your hand. Google has always been good at tuning colors and contrast, and that shows here. While its white point skews just a bit cooler than the Vivo, the natural color mode holds its own with a very respectable 1.9 average delta E and excellent 98.2% color gamut coverage. HDR content looks good, viewing angles are solid, and overall, it feels like a very comfortable, highly capable display for everyday use. The Pixel 10a runs on Google's Tensor G4, the same chip as the Pixel 9a from last year. So Google didn't update the hardware here at all. Same chip, same RAM tier, same storage speed. In day-to-day use, software performance is smooth because Pixel UI is extremely well optimized and gaming at medium to high settings runs without any major issues. But in raw performance benchmarks, it lags behind what competitors at this price are now offering. The V70 Elite runs on the Snapdragon 8s Gen 3. This is a chip that was designed for a higher tier of use. App launches are noticeably faster, multitasking handles heavier workloads, and gaming at high settings feels more stable and sustained. Call of Duty Mobile, BGMI at 90 FPS, even Genshin Impact at high settings hold up reasonably well. Thermals are managed, though the phone does warm up during extended gaming. So, if you are a daily driver who browses, streams, and occasionally games, the Pixel 10a holds its own just fine. If you push your phone hard or you care about the phone feeling genuinely fast rather than just acceptable, the Vivo has the stronger hardware. Pixel UI on Android 16 is the cleanest Android experience you will find anywhere. No bloatware, no third-party apps, no aggressive notifications trying to get you to use something you didn't just ask for. It's just Android done right. The AI features Google has built in, from photo editing tools to real-time processing, are deeply integrated and actually useful. And Google is committing to 7 years of OS updates and 7 years of security patches. At Rs 50,000, that's genuinely significant for long-term ownership. Vivo's Origin OS 6 on Android 16 is a more ambitious piece of software. It's colorful, highly customizable, and packed with features. You can change fonts, icons, UI shapes, animations, lock screen layouts, almost everything. The layered glass aesthetic looks modern and distinct. There's an interactive notification hub built into the status area that works well once you get used to it. AI features are present throughout the system, including in the camera app and productivity tools. Software support is 4 years of OS updates and 6 years of security patches, which is good, but a step behind Google. Origin OS is not a bad experience, it's actually quite thoughtful in places, but it does ship with some pre-installed apps, and the sheer volume of options can feel like more to manage than some people actually want. Moving on to the camera, starting with the Pixel 10a, its primary 48 megapixel camera produces photos that are consistently accurate. Colors look like they are supposed to, dynamic range is handled well even in tricky lighting. Low light shots come out clean with controlled noise. What Google's processing does especially well is preserve fine texture and detail in scenes that other phones tend to over-smooth. Portrait edge detection is among the most accurate you'll get at this price. Selfies are detailed in daylight, softer at night. There's no dedicated telephoto camera. Google offers a 2x lossless crop instead, which works better than you'd expect. Though at 3x and beyond, you are in digital zoom territory and the quality drop becomes visible. The ultrawide is a 13 megapixel sensor with 120-degree field of view. Results are natural and detailed in daylight with lens distortion that's present but well managed. Low light ultrawide performance is solid for the price. The V70 Elite has a 50 megapixel primary, a 50 megapixel 3x optical telephoto, and an 8 megapixel ultrawide. In daylight, the primary produces punchy, well-sharpened images. Low light performance is decent, though very dark conditions expose some limits. The telephoto is genuinely good, 3x optical reach with clean daylight output and surprisingly usable low light results. At 10x with AI enhancements, results are more hit or miss depending on the lighting condition. The ultrawide is the weak link. 8 megapixel on a phone above Rs 50,000 in 2026 is a compromise that's just hard to justify. It produces soft, distortion-heavy images in daylight and falls apart in low light. Video on the Pixel 10a is stable but shows some noise even in daylight. The Vivo is sharper but stabilization is less consistent. So, if you want a more natural, versatile camera that's reliable across different conditions including ultrawide, the Pixel 10a edges ahead. If you want optical zoom reach and a more aggressive image style, the V70 Elite makes sense, just accept that the ultrawide is there more for the spec sheet than for the real use. Battery life advantage goes clearly to the Vivo. The V70 Elite carries a 6500 mAh battery with 90-watt wired charging. Screen on time under moderate use is in the 8 to 10 hour range. In PC Mark battery life test, it was able to run for 25 hours, utilizing 80% of the battery capacity. The 90-watt charger gets you to full in just over an hour. No wireless charging, which is a gap at this price, but the fast wired charging offsets a lot of that frustration in daily use. The Pixel 10a packs a 5100 mAh battery. Heavy users will need to charge it by end of day and casual users will stretch it to the next morning. It ran for around 21 hours in our PC Mark battery life test. Charging is 30-watt wired and 10-watt wireless, and the charger is not included in the box. Full charge takes about an hour and 43 minutes. For a 50,000 rupee phone in 2026, the charging speed is quite underwhelming. The wireless charging is a nice touch, but the slow wired speeds are a genuine compromise here. So, the Pixel 10a is the phone for someone who wants their software to stay out of the way and their camera to be trustworthy across any situation. The 7-year software commitment matters more than people give it credit for. 3 years from now, this phone will still feel relevant. That's not something every phone at this price point can say. The trade-off is slower charging, thicker bezels, and a chipset that's already a generation behind. The V70 Elite is the phone for someone who wants to feel the hardware. Faster processor, better battery, 3x optical zoom, premium build with IP68 and 69. It's a more feature-dense package, but the ultra-wide camera is a real disappointment. And at 56,999 for the 12GB variant, mind you, you start to question the value that you're getting. Neither of these phones are perfect choice. They just make different set of compromises, and which set of compromises you can live with is really the whole question. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and stay tuned for more such videos. Thanks for watching.